What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blockhash podcast. Today, have another very exciting guest with Andrew Spira here on the show today to talk about his story of success, the ways he, was able to achieve a $10 million real estate portfolio, built a successful reputation management company, and much more. What his journey looked like, and what other entrepreneurs, other aspiring individuals out there can take from some of the lessons that he learned and the knowledge that he's learned. Andrew, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. I'm over in Manila at the moment. It's a bit of a wet day, but as they say, every day is good in Manila.
So let's start it off with a little bit about, I guess, how your story started. So who is Andrew Spira? Like, how did you get your start?
It's interesting. I'm doing this new therapy, which is brain reprogramming, and the first thing he asked me, he goes, "Who is Andrew Spira?" And then I just start recalling all these events that have happened to me. He said, "You told me events that have happened to you, but who is Andrew Spira?" Anyway, I'll give you a little bit of background about my story. So I grew up in the eastern suburbs of Sydney in Australia, very affluent area. Unfortunately, I grew up in an extremely broken home. When I was, I guess, 3, my parents split. It was a very nasty divorce, and it was publicized in the media. Then when I was 5, I was made to live with my mum, and that was quite bad, and ended up getting taken off my mum and given to my dad, and going to my dad's place was even worse. So by the time I was 14, 15, I found myself, I guess, running away from home, and that's sort of started my entrepreneurial journey. So I had to learn how to hustle fairly young. I was 14, 15, flipping things on eBay, flipping things on Gumtree, which is an Australian local marketplace, flipping things wherever I could get them, buying supplements, selling them at the gym, buying iPhones, fixing them up, selling them. Anything I could hustle, I hustled. And unfortunately, when I was a teenager, I became a bit naughty. I was just jumping around hotels, and I was kind of living a bit of the high life, and ended up getting into some trouble when I was 17, 10 days before my 18th birthday. And I met a girl at the same time, a lady, and that was my journey to, I guess, becoming an entrepreneur and turning my life around when I was in my later teen years.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to go through, especially early on. They say adversity really tests your mettle and really, can drive people to do incredible things. Talking about flipping things and selling things on eBay and being like having that entrepreneurial mindset. I'm sure some of that like really kind of drove that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it still drives me to today. It used to be something that's really been changed for me over the last couple of years. I used to work out of desperation. Like my whole day used to be thinking about that period of when I was in my later teen years, and never to be in that situation again. And now I'm learning how to channel that into a positive mindset. This is fun. Enjoy the work harder. So that's been a really interesting transition for me.
How did you, complete that type of a transition? I know that if your foundation for being an entrepreneur has always been, something, let's adversity, you have to get through this, you have to pay these bills, you have to find a way to make things happen. It's hard to enjoy it. And I've gone through it in some ways as being an entrepreneur too. But, shifting that so that you really start enjoying what you're doing, I guess, when you start from a place of adversity maybe is difficult.
Yeah, I've got a mentor now. I had trust issues before, and I wouldn't let anyone into my life. I was a very private person, and I generated a very successful business when I was 20, and made millions of dollars. And I didn't have anyone. It was just me on my own. And 2 years ago, I made the decision to get a mentor, and that's really changed my life. He's taught me about mindset and only thinking positively. He's taught me about creating. He's taught me about delegation. He's taught me about why we do this, like what's the purpose of being an entrepreneur. And now what I found is I'm able to create so much more, so much faster. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've never really had a mentor in that kind of way. I'd say for you, it was worth it, right? To really have someone there to kind of retweak some of the skill sets, I guess, you have to make you even more successful, having someone that are kind of behind your back to help you?
It's been a game changer for me, even though it does get challenging at times and it gets interpersonal, even because we got commercial relationships as well. My mentor and I were involved financially together. Having him behind me is helped me massively. Like our businesses are really starting to ramp up now, which is good.
What was your first endeavor? What is the first business that you kind of started, and even if it failed, like what was it?
A funny thing is, all my businesses have failed except one, and it's always come back to this core business. I'm in the merchant cash advance space, which I'm sure you know of in the US. My first business was actually brokering unsecured business loans. Now, I was the top broker in Australia 2 or 3 years in a row at multiple lenders. So I was just bashing the phones. I had a call center in the Philippines, and I was doing a lot of affiliate marketing as well. So that was my first successful endeavor. That was Pineapple funding. I then got heavily into real estate. I sort of thought, I was 19. I was watching these Grant Cardone videos and all these guys on Facebook, put all the money in real estate, but that doesn't work, unfortunately. Your biggest asset, what I've learned, is your business and what you're good at. So, now all my capital I reinvest into my business. And to be honest, I'm just buying properties outright now. I don't use any debt for property because I don't understand it. Property's not for me. So I'm just buying properties. When I buy a property, it's in cash, full.
When did you really get into real estate? Like, did you have a mentor that was kind of teaching you about how to do that? Or did you kind of learn it on your own and you found an interest there?
Yeah, I learned it on my own. I was making about 3 to 4 million a year in my pocket profit. So I had a lot of residual cash, even for the Sydney market, which I think is the second most expensive in the world behind Vancouver. I was just going out like a sport every Saturday, finding a property, calling the bank, getting it valued, seeing if it was under market, buying it under market, releasing the equity, and then buying another property. Now, that methodology doesn't work. Over a short period of time, sure, if it was 10, 15 years, and I was able to hold my income for 10 or 15 years, it would have worked. But the reality is, us as business people, our income fluctuates. So, 1 year we might not have enough money to pay off these heavily leveraged high interest rate properties. That's where it doesn't work. That's a valuable lesson I've learned over the last couple of years, is invest in what you understand. And that's working really well for me now. As I said, I'm just putting it all back into my business. When I want to buy a property, I get together the money and buy it outright. No debt at all. I get all the debt in the world I can for my business. Everyone that wants to put money in, every bank, every credit card, it goes bang into my business. But outside of my business that I don't understand, it's all cash, cars, property, watches, whatever it may be.
So how did you scale that? If it's, all cash, you're buying things in its entirety rather than going to the bank and getting the loan like most people probably do. How did you end up scaling this, or what was the strategy behind doing it for real estate?
Leveraging my business rather than
Leveraging the business. Okay.
I don't understand. Yeah, like the more money I put into my business and what I'm good at, the more money I make. I didn't understand that to start with. I was stuck in that invest. But that gets you nowhere. Invest in what you understand. So that's what I've really learned over the last year or two, and it's working for me. It's simple. I'm not overcomplicating things. Every time someone tries to overcomplicate something, I push them out. And I say I'm not doing this to be a mean person or whatever. I'm doing it for the good of either it's an investor and they want me to change the direction of the business, but I'm doing it for the good of the business and the good of their money.
So would you say this is probably one of the main wealth building strategies that you learned with real estate? And is there other things that you've learned along the way while investing in real estate? Because I know for most people, they hear all the time, oh, just invest in real estate. You're listening to like Grant Cardone or Kiyosaki, and they make it seem so simple, but it's far more complicated than that sometimes. Just curious, like if there's any strategies you've learned that seem to work well.
Yeah, find what you like, find what you're good at, and go all in. That's the only strategy that works. And Grant and Kiyosaki, they're making money off their core businesses and then putting it into real estate. And they're making so much money, even if they have a bad year on real estate, it doesn't matter. All those 10x systems and all that other stuff, it generates so much cash. It doesn't matter how well the real estate does. So find what you're passionate about, find what you're good at, find what you love, and go all in. And don't look back. Just go for it. the world's not that cruel. When you go for something, it's can't go as bad as you think in your head. It can never go that bad. The strategies I've used, as I said, leveraging my business and what I'm good at, and the rest falls into place. Keeping things simple.
Do you invest into everything, or specifically commercial or residential?
I was investing into residential.
Okay.
So I was buying exactly what they said: blocks of units, multi-income housing.
Hmm.
I had 11 of them, and I sort of thought, hang on, like I'm constantly putting money in my business into this. And then I went through a divorce process with my ex-partner. We weren't married, but we had a lot of proprities together. Another thing you don't
Gotcha.
think about. Yeah. And I lost all the properties, and I thought, you know what? I'm never doing this again. This is ridiculous. So yeah.
I know you've also done some other successful stuff in the business world. I know you have a reputation management company that's also pretty successful, correct?
Yeah, that's a good business. I'm not making any money out of it. It's a good business. I like to. As you can probably see, I'm a guy that likes to keep busy. So when I'm not working, I'm doing that. So I'm helping people with basic life skills or get back on their feet that are in tough positions.
Interesting. So you have the business because you want to help other people and because you want to keep busy, not necessarily for profit.
Yeah, well, this all started off the back of years ago. I'm a well-known person around the part of Sydney I'm from. I always had kids calling me, or people I know calling me saying, "Hey, I've done this, I've done that, I'm going to kill myself," or and stuff like that. So that's where this business came from. And then last year I had a significant event where I ended up going back into the hands of the custody, into the government. It was a drug-related event, and not like I had a bit of a
Mhm.
episode, and my ex-partner, she made some false domestic violence claims about me, and I ended up back in custody, and everyone there needed help. I went in there, I was scared, but in there I was able to help people, like teach them how to get a rental property, teach them how to get a job, and off the back of that I said, if I get my business back up and running, I'm going to get into philanthropy. And I just started this organization, and I haven't looked back. I had heaps of people contact me and message me on WhatsApp and text me, and I put together a bit of a toolkit for someone who's down and out, and the basics they need. It's quite simple. You get a job, you get a rental property, and you get into a routine, and the rest will follow. You will get the momentum. So it's just teaching people and encouraging people, and giving people positive light to be able to be the best version of themselves.
Interesting. You mentioned you're an active philanthropist. Do you have your own charity, or do you like to donate to others?
I'm in the process of setting up a family office, and part of that
Okay.
fund will be to charities. So it's early stages for that. So
Anything in particular?
I'm big on men's mental health. So that's a big passion for me personally.
What about men's mental health?
We're in a very challenging world, as you know, at the moment, and it's hard. I guess my big passion is addiction.
Mhm.
I was a drug addict from when I was 14 to 17. I managed to get clean for 5 years, and then unfortunately I relapsed when I was 23. And my biggest regret is taking drugs. Every day I wake up, and I'm getting older now. I'm 20. I turned 26. I'm not fully mature, but my body's starting to change at the moment, and I'm feeling it. And every day I wake up, and I still have that regret of taking drugs or touching alcohol. So it's teaching people the consequences of taking drugs and touching alcohol, and explaining my story. I went from living in a $10 million house with a great business with 2,200 clients, all on loans, to being in one of the worst jails in the Southern Hemisphere, which was Northern Territory Jail, all because I flipped out. Can't remember what happened. So it's teaching people about the consequences of addiction, the health consequences of addiction, how to get off drugs. I think that's a big one. A lot of these therapists, they don't understand the pain you go through when you're coming off drugs, and teaching people how to have a fun, clean life. Like now, every day I'm having so much fun. I can barely sleep at the moment. Like I bounce out of bed onto my laptop. So it's about giving someone a sense of purpose. That's a big thing.
What are some things you do on a day-to-day basis? Like, do you have a routine in the mornings or throughout the day? Like, do you drink anything special? Do you work out at certain times? Like, everyone has their thing. Kind of curious what your rituals are.
Well, I'm like that American Psycho guy. I'm regimented to the minute.
Okay.
So Yeah, like I get up at the same time every day. I have coffee at the same time every day. I have breakfast at the same time every day. I have my meetings at the same time every day. I do the same things at the same time every day. Oh, I try to anyway. There's obviously a lot of variables because I'm
Hmm.
a group of fintech businesses, but everything I can control, I control.
You think routine is just helpful? Routine helps me.
Routine's the best thing. It's the most helpful thing.
Do you provide any mentorship or coaching to entrepreneurs as well at this point? Like, do
No,
you help anyone
I haven't
else?
got into that yet. People don't know. People don't know I'm doing well again because I've been very private. Yeah, I'm very private now.
Hmm. Is it something that you'd like to get into at some point?
Not till I've rebuilt fully. I think I'm on the pathway. Once I'm a billionaire, huh?
What would you say was maybe the biggest piece of advice you could give to somebody out there that is an aspiring entrepreneur, regardless of background? Let's say they're young, they're maybe in high school or something, and they're just starting to become an adult. They want to do something. Is it about just following your passion? Is it about trying a lot of things and failing? What's your biggest take?
Following your passion's a great one, but don't overcomplicate things. I see so many people fail because they overcomplicate the process or how they make money. Just focus on making money and a simple process, and the rest will fall into place. The most simplistic ideas make the most money. Every day I'm at loggerheads with people in my organization, my business, about changing the process. But why would we change the process when we're making 90% EBIT? We just got to focus on scaling. So scaling the existing process. So don't overcomplicate things and be patient. It takes 2 or 3 years to get some proper results.
As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're always looking for the next possible thing and what might be trending out there or what could be big. Is there anything that has caught your eye as of recently that might be a huge area of opportunity for someone that's young and wants to dive in headfirst as an entrepreneur?
AI.
AI.
AI is the next thing. If you can nail an AI business, you're going to be a billionaire at the next boom. We're heading into a recession now. As we all know, don't panic, they don't last. I think the next boom, the next COVID or whatever it is, AI is going to be the big thing. That's where the billions and trillions are going to be made.
Do you think people are going to start to slowly get replaced, or do you think it's going to be more of like a combination of, not a combination, but a pulling of the two together? AI maybe being more of a helping tool than a replacement tool.
No, it's going to be a replacement tool, but we won't notice it. Like everything, all these doomsday preppers saying that we're all going to be out of jobs and this and that. It's not going to be like that. It'll be a gradual thing, and we won't notice it. We won't even see it.
So what's next for you? To kind of wrap up the episode, what are you looking to do next? Like, do you know what's next on the horizon, or what are you working on? Or is it kind of just where the wind blows?
I'm working 14, 15 hours a day in my lending business at the moment. So my goal in the next year is to get it to $1 billion valuation, and we're on that trajectory. So let's see how we go. We're almost there. I've just got to get some more capital in and get it lent out, and then we should be good.
Where can people find you? Are you online? Do you have socials? Do you have LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. There's a couple of LinkedIn profiles. It's the one with the blue tick. To get to me directly, look through my organization, my philanthropy organization, which is andrewspira.me.
Awesome. We'll put all that stuff in the description down below so everyone can find it. But Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. I think it's very enlightening for a lot of people to hear stories like yours and to understand that great success can come from adversity in a lot of ways. So thank you for taking the time to really elaborate on that, share your story, and talk about some of the things that you're doing really well and successfully.
Thank you.